Happy Monday. It is a beautiful day outside. The sun is shining. Feels pretty nice. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of outside time today. Just a few updates for you. Jim Jones is still in the Murray-Callaway County Hospital, room 2404. Derek says that he is doing some better, which is good. He had gone in initially because of breathing difficulties, but we're glad that he's making some improvements. We want to wish a happy birthday today to Rhonda Burks, to Judy Rogers, and to Jessica Wallace. Tomorrow, Carrie Story and Chloe Jingles will have a birthday, and on Wednesday, Marion Elkins and our very own Jeremy McKill. How about that? I think he might be over the hill already, so we'll find out how far over he may be from there. Earlier this morning, I was talking with Brother Johnny Miller, one of our dear members. Of course, most of you know that he keeps the grounds around here. He keeps this place mowed and very well manicured and looking well. And we were talking just about everything that is happening, how life has changed, how people are missing out on so many things. And of course, you know that Johnny is a soccer referee. And of course, he was naming some of the kids that he would referee in soccer and how they might even miss the fall season. And then he went on and he mentioned one of our, of course, I'm going to zero in on this one because there's a good story. Well, we talked about several of our kids who were missing out on some of their athletic seasons. But he mentioned Cade Gibson, and I said, does Cade Gibson play soccer? He said, no. He said he plays baseball, but, he's missing out on his baseball season because of all this. And he says, I know how much that guy loves baseball. And he said, Johnny told me, he said, I've had Cade ever since he was a little guy, and he was talking about the class that he has upstairs on Sunday nights, or that he had upstairs on Sunday nights when we met. He said this one particular, I think it was a Bible bowl or some kind of similar retreat. They were on their way back, and he said Cade was a little rambunctious, and Johnny said, I tried to, Cade, calm down, settle down, sit down, and said he was just a boy. He was just being a boy, as most do at that age. Johnny said, so I went and I grabbed Cade and I set him in my lap and I just held him real tight. And he said that Cade looked back at him and he said, I'm going to get loose from you. He said, so we kind of went back and forth for a while, and I just held him tight as I could, and he struggled to get loose. He said, and Johnny said for a couple weeks after that, he didn't much talk to me. He said, but now I see him, and he said, every time I see him, he hugs me, and he said, he's my buddy. So I thought about that, and Johnny and I were discussing this, and so this devotional today is more or less brought to you by inspiration of the Holy Spirit through Johnny Miller to Stephen Hunter, and then to you. Johnny was mentioning also this video that he had watched about a passage that we read from Psalm 46, verse 10. Most of you know it. Be still and know that I am God. And so we were talking about how Cade was, wanting loose from Mr. Johnny, and he was trying to hold him. He said, that's like all of us. We're so restless. We have to be constantly going. And sometimes God just wants us to be still, just to stop, just to pause. So I got out one of my Psalms, books of Psalms that I have. I have different translations. This one that I have is by Robert Alter. And on this particular passage, rather than translate it, be still and know that I am God, he translates it this way: let go and know that I am God. But he also gives an explanation for his translation. He says this verb means to relax one's grip on something. It might be an injunction to cease and desist from armed struggle, to unclench the warrior's fist. At this juncture, which is in effect the end of the poem, the end-time triumphant God speaks directly, declaring his supremacy over all the world. The poem concludes by repeating the refrain, "The Lord of armies is with us, a fortress for us, Jacob's God." Now, if you were to take time to read the 46th Psalm, you'll understand the passage that it's most well known for, "Be still and know that I am God," is not just among your hustle and bustle life. Do you just need to relax your grip on life and look to God as the supreme ruler of all? But this actually occurs in the midst of battle, in the midst of hardship. Beginning with verse 1, here's what it says. For the lead player, for the Korites, on the Alamoth, a song. God is a shelter and strength for us, a help in straits readily found. Therefore we fear not when the earth breaks apart, when mountains collapse in the heart of the seas. Its waters roar and roil, mountains heave in its surge. Selah. A stream, its rivulets gladden God's town, the holy dwelling of Elion, or Most High. God in its midst, it will not collapse. God helps it as morning breaks. Nations roar and kingdoms collapse. He sends forth his voice and earth melts. The Lord of armies is with us, a fortress for us, Jacob's God. Selah. Go, behold the acts of the Lord, who made desolations on earth, caused wars to cease to the end of the earth. The bow he has broken and splintered the spear, and chariots burned in fire. Be still and know that I am God. I am among the nations. I loom upon earth. The Lord of armies is with us, a fortress for us, Jacob's God. Selah. We all wrestle against God in some way or another. We've wrestled through a pandemic that hopefully has brought us a greater perspective of what's truly important. We have essentially been forced to stop, to be still, to relax our grip on the illusion that we have control, on the illusion that we have liberty, on the illusion that we have a lot of the things that we think that we have. We have, in essence, realized just how little freedom we truly have, just how little control we truly have over everything. And so, placed within the context of this psalm, "Be still and know that I am God," reminds us that we have no control, that He is the supreme and triumphant ruler of the earth. His will always be done. And so in the season where we are forced to stop, where we are forced to be still, hopefully we will not miss the opportunity to acknowledge the God of heaven, the God of Jacob, as he is identified in this psalm, and the God of us all. If we can be of any assistance to any of your needs, please feel free to call upon us. We love you, and we're praying for you.